It's Gridiron Wrap on 760 WJR, sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Now here are Pro Football's 2025 Hall of Fame Award of Excellence honoree Bill Keenist and football analyst Alex Ziolkowski.
Welcome everyone into Gridiron Wrap. And Alex, I'll tell you what, since Thursday, it's been a football festival, if you will, certainly across the country and in the state of Michigan and Detroit in particular. And I don't know how we can't start with the big breaking news since we are the flagship for Michigan State football. And that's the reports that Pat Fitzgerald, former Northwestern head coach, is going to be the new head coach at Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean, that's some big news. I mean, Michigan State, the writing's been on the wall. We've been talking about it for weeks. Smith just wasn't a good fit. It seemed like he had to be out. But yeah, great for Michigan State to clearly have something going on behind the works for this for weeks. Letting Smith finish out the season. But yeah, I think a great hire. I think Fitzgerald is going to mesh really well with the culture up there in East Lansing. He's proven to be able to build and maintain a good program in the Big Ten, but doing it at a school with a lot more restriction on him and Northwestern than he'll have at Michigan State. So I think this is a great hire for the Spartans, and I think he'll be pretty successful there. What about you?
I agree 100%. And I think it's just crazy how the football world turns because, you go back 2 days and, the Spartan fans were probably the most despondent, disappointed, down in the dumps, angry, frustrated fans in our state. But now fast forward to the news this afternoon, after the Wolverines lost the game on Saturday, after the Lions lost, and then the news that the state has hired really an exceptional head coach by all accounts. He's a Midwestern guy, he's a Big Ten guy. He did a remarkable job really at Northwestern when you think of all he had to work with and didn't have to work with. And kudos to Jay Batt at Michigan State, because you are absolutely right. They had a plan, and that's what a great athletic department does. Great leaders do. They don't wait until they have to. They act when they can, and they could. And I'll tell you what, it's exceptional. And if I'm a Spartan fan right now, all you Spartans out there, you should be dancing, man, because this guy, and the other thing, he's had a few years to understand the dynamics of the new college football game, the new Big Ten game. And that's what he said he's done. He's got his PhD, so to speak, in NIL and all the other stuff that goes along with the college game today. So, I think it's exceptional hire for Michigan State, and they're not going to miss a beat as far as the NIL, the transfer portal, the recruiting, all that stuff. I think they're going to hit the ground running, and in many respects, they already have.
Yeah, I agree. And I really like your point as well about them having a plan and how important that is. Because you saw that, especially some of these SEC schools, they fired their coach. And then specifically, my mind just goes to Arkansas, where it looked like the rumors a few days ago were that they were going to land Alex Ziolkowski from USF. And then that kind of spirals out of hand. And then he goes to Auburn. And then this morning you have fans protesting outside their football facility due to how unpleased or displeased they were with the coach they ended up hiring in Ryan Silverfield. So yeah, it really was a great job by Michigan State. And to your point about how happy they are, they also won yesterday.
No doubt.
Everyone forgets. They won at Ford Field. So, capped off the season on a positive note and with a good hire. So yeah, it's a great weekend for Michigan State football.
And I, maybe it's because I'm so passionate about Tom Izzo. And I look at Pat Fitzgerald as a similar type of coach. He's fiery. Players love him. He's going to coach them hard. He's going to make them better as people and as players. And then, oh, by the way, speaking of Tom Izzo and Michigan State, the Spartans are one of the best basketball programs at this point in the season in the country. The hockey team, the Spartans hockey team, I think, is still ranked number one. So, the green and white got some things rolling there right now. And, hats off to the new administration, the new president who's been there a little over a year, and certainly to Jay Batt. And they have a plan, and it's already has been in motion, obviously. When you can hire a guy like Pat Fitzgerald, in fact, I will mention this, there was some buzz back when the Lions hired Dan Campbell. There were some people in the Lions organization back then that I am told were interested in Pat Fitzgerald. That's how highly regarded he is. And so I can't say enough about the expediency with which they acted. They didn't wait because they didn't have to wait, because they had been doing their work all along. And you can't do anything but compliment them. And like we said, a week ago, it was gloom and doom for the green and white, and the maize and blue. We're getting ready to Honolulu blue and silver. We're getting ready for the big Thanksgiving victory over the Packers. And now, less than a week later, my oh my, how things change. But that's the beauty of sports, and that's why we talk about it the way we do, and why everybody's so passionate about it.
Yeah, completely. I mean, again, there's a lot of positive momentum going up there in East Lansing with that hire. And end the season on a strong note, make a good hire, one that'll really work out. But they're going to be a really interesting team to see. And also, one of the nice things about the Fitzgerald hire is the fact that since he wasn't coaching anywhere, he can start tomorrow. Signing day is Wednesday, but he's not dealing with any of the drama that these other schools are facing with their coach leaving. Nothing like that. No kind of championship. So he can really hit the ground running for both the signing day and the portal window, and that opens up in January. So really interesting, and I think it'll end up working out well.
No doubt. And we got a lot more to talk about, obviously, but I want to give our listeners an update on the NFL games. The current ones in progress, the Seahawks, they're going to have be tied at least for the best record in football, assuming this game continues the way it is. They're leading Minnesota 19-0 going into the fourth quarter. The Chargers, in a very important win for Jim Harbaugh and company, are leading the Raiders 14-7, and that's in the middle of the third quarter. And what had been a real defensive slugfest, a Great Lakes classic, if you will. The Bills just went ahead of the Steelers 10-7, beginning of the third quarter in Pittsburgh. So big game there from earlier today, and we'll get into some more specifics. The one big surprise of the game of the day is the Carolina Panthers with a 31-28 victory over the Rams. Carolina's now a game behind the Lions. So it's amazing how the season evolves. And who would have thought a month ago that we would be saying, as we speak now, the Chicago Bears are the number one seed in the NFC with their impressive victory over Philadelphia, and the Carolina Panthers are one game behind the Lions. We will talk about all that and more when we come back after a break. You are listening to Gridiron Wrap on 760 WJR, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
Coming up on Monday at 2 o'clock, JR Afternoon, we are reacting to the Lions Thanksgiving Day game, also looking ahead to the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football, and, of course, Dr. Michael Lutz with a Men's Health Monday. All that and so much more, 760 WJR.
Michigan Auto Law, the law firm that puts people over everything.
People call Michigan Auto Law when they need help, not just because we win more million-dollar auto settlements than any firm in Michigan, which we do. It's because we care and we have your back. From the first call to the final settlement, we treat you like a person, not a case. Because at Michigan Auto Law, it's simple. People over everything. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-705-9484. 800-705-9484. 800-705-9484.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You're not lazy, so your money shouldn't be either. Join No Lazy Money with Nick and Jim from Peak Wealth Management. Discover investment strategies and elevate your wealth. Tune in Wednesday at 7 p.m. with host Ryan Ermani. Empower your financial journey.
At USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth, we proudly serve as the front porch of USA Hockey. More than a rink, we're your go-to destination for family fun and unforgettable hockey experiences. USA Hockey Arena is a go-to destination in Detroit for locals and visitors. From youth games to Team USA matchups, you'll find tons of excitement and a warm welcome every time you visit. Celebrating 10 years in the vibrant Plymouth community, we invite you to see what makes us special. Visit usahockeyarena.com today.
This Thanksgiving, while many of us gather around tables filled with food and family, others in our community are desperate for a second chance. I'm Pastor Darren Weiss, CEO of Grace Centers of Hope, and we see men, women, and children finding freedom from addiction and homelessness through the power of God's grace, community, and accountability. Your gift today of $2.17 provides a warm meal and hope for the holidays. Visit gracecentersofhope.org and give someone a reason to give thanks this year.
You're listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR, sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenist and Alex Ziolkowski.
Welcome back to Gridiron Wrap. And before we get into some conversation, let's take a look again at some of the scores from the earlier window of games. The Browns hosted the 49ers in Shadur Sanders' second start, and San Francisco pretty much controlled the game from beginning to end. 26-8 victory over the Browns. Brock Purdy had a very efficient day as well. And San Francisco is above the Lions in the playoff hunt with a 9-4 record right now. They are in the final wild card spot with a 9-4 record. That just shows how much work the Lions have to do. Jacksonville with an impressive win because they had to win at Tennessee, 25-3, and they are keeping pace and certainly have stayed in the playoff hunt. We talked about the Texans defense, Alex, over the last month, and it was on display again today. A massive win for the Texans in Indianapolis, 20-16 over the Colts. And that defense, the thing about defense, like a great running game, it travels, and it was on display again today. And huge win for the Texans. And CJ Stroud was back, and he made some plays in that game with his legs, which obviously helped out. The Dolphins, hey, they're on a roll. I think that's 3 in a row with a 21-17 win over the Saints. And happy for the Aaron Glenn-led New York Jets with their third win of the season on the very last play, a 55-yard field goal by Nick Folk, 27-24 over the Falcons. And you gotta really admire, a team in its first year with the head coach that keeps fighting the way the Jets do. And I think that's Aaron Glenn's, handprint, fingerprint, footprint on that team. And they also have another former Lions coach who I think the world of, Sean Jefferson's coaching the receivers. And he is an Aaron Glenn type of guy. Both former players in the league, both great former players in the league. So kudos to the Jets. Buccaneers with a tight one, but an important one. They lead their division now. Buccaneers 20-17 over the Cardinals in Tampa. Huge win for them. And then just going back over the games earlier in this week, Friday's game, the Bears controlled the Eagles pretty much, I think, most of the game. a stunning win in many respects because, as well as the Bears were playing, I don't think anybody expected them to go into Philadelphia and do what they did.
Yeah. Running for over 250 yards on the game against that defense is just absurd to do that. And then, just shutting down an offense that, sure, they've had some struggles this year, but the Bears defense isn't really one that comes to the top of the head when people discuss about what are the best of the league. I mean, they might need to now, but I think they just were a unit that was really flying under the radar. And we talk about all the time, run game and defense travels, especially late in the year. That was the wind was swirling. It was really affecting the pass game a little bit. And then the Bears come in just completely dominate, assert their dominance on the game, and just really impressive. And they look like that one of the best teams in the NFC. It's not a fluke that they're up here leading the standings. Really, them and the Rams have both been just playing great. Even though the Rams lost earlier today, them, Rams, Seahawks, and even the Eagles before this game, that almost seems like the Mount Rushmore of NFC teams at the moment.
Yeah, I agree, and I think like we always talk about, which direction are you going? You going up the hill or down the hill? And there's no doubt the Bears are going up the hill.
Yeah.
And for them to do what they did, they're getting healthy. And again, it's a testament to what they did in the offseason, signing, I think 3 starting new offensive linemen. And it's working. And DeAndre Swift had like a renaissance season, a former Lions number 1, I think it was number 1 draft pick for the Lions. So, kudos to the Bears. And, that game in Chicago in December that the Lions have to play is looming to be even bigger than it might have seemed to be a few weeks ago. The other games, of course, on Thursday, the Joe Burrow's back and his numbers were good, not incredible. But I think the fact that he's back leading the offense of the Bengals, that not only helps the offense, but it helps the defense, helps the special teams mentally, emotionally, and literally based on field position. You get an extra first down or 2. You're not punting from inside your 20. You're punting from midfield maybe, and all that factors. That's complementary football, as we hear that term so often. But the Bengals win 32-14 in Baltimore. Baltimore had, sort of, from all accounts, turned the season around. And they were in control in the NFC or the AFC North, and they lose that game, and Pittsburgh jumps ahead of them for the top spot. But Pittsburgh's got a tough one, as we said earlier today, with the Bills. The Cowboys, oh my. And I say that because that's the Lions' next opponent on Thursday night. And they are a team that everybody is noticing now because they've made some unique additions to their defense interior, and it's showing up. Quinnen Williams, obviously one of the best tackles the league has had, interior tackles in recent years. And then they made the trade with Green Bay, and Micah Parsons, who we'll talk about, has been phenomenal. We're not discounting that for the Packers, but Green Bay or Dallas did okay at that trade, and they beat the Chiefs, a game the Chiefs, I think by all accounts, looked at as an absolute, they had to win that game. They had to win that game, and they didn't. So the Cowboys, with their running game that's better than expected, with 2 of the top receivers in the league, and I think Dak Prescott's playing as well as anyone, and that's who the Lions face on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I really like the additions of both Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. Obviously, you want a guy like Micah Parsons, but I think in general, the NFL is kind of discounting the importance of defensive tackles a little bit over edge rushers. I mean, defensive tackles do so much more in stopping the run, and then if you can also get them to rush the passer as well, that's just so helpful. And then making it where they can't really, because sometimes an edge rusher you can step up in the pocket. You can't step up in the pocket when a defensive tackle gets pressure. You got to start moving out and about, so that really helps people. Then, man, I mean, this Dallas offense, like we've talked about all year, really is one of the truly dangerous ones in the NFL. It really was just them getting the defense fixed up and better, which was keeping them back, and they did that with some good trades.
Yeah, and you could tell just by watching that game how confident they are, and that's huge when it comes to the NFL especially at this point in the season. So we'll, when we get back, come back from a break, we'll talk about that Lions Packers game a little bit more, along with updates on all the late window games here on Gridiron Wrap, WJR 760, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code AUTO for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code AUTO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code AUTO for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Hi, I'm Drew Barrymore, and I want to tell you how you can help to support the life-saving work of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. When you give, you're helping ensure families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, so they can focus on helping their child live. This holiday, help St. Jude give children the greatest gift, a chance at a lifetime.
This holiday, help St. Jude find more cures for more children. Donate now at musicgives.org.
Whether you're freelancing, growing your startup, or managing your first team, Pillar is business banking that fits your world. Open deposit accounts, send invoices, manage roles, and access lending all in one secure digital platform. Backed by MSU Federal Credit Union and federally insured by the NCUA, Pillar blends cutting-edge technology with real human support. Start banking for the future today at PILLUR.org.
I'm Ann Thomas. Congratulations to the 2025 Women Who Lead class. Megan Spanitz, Detroit Regional Chamber Chief Operating Officer, says working at the Chamber is a dream job.
I just never would have guessed that in July of 1999, I'd send a resume in to write newsletters and be here today, really making a difference.
Special thanks to University of Michigan Health Fund, Whitelander Women's Hospital, for supporting Women Who Lead.
WJR's Michigan Voices with Marie Osborne is your platform for positive change. We're shining a spotlight on the incredible work of local nonprofits that are making a difference in our communities. Do you know a nonprofit that's going above and beyond? Let Marie know about them. Email their name and a brief description to the email address michiganvoices@wjr.com. Together we can amplify the voices of those who are building a better Michigan. Go beyond the headlines with Priscilla Presley at the Andiamo Showroom Friday, December 5th. Priscilla Presley shares meeting Elvis at just 14 years old and becoming his wife, the mother of his only child, and a trusted confidant throughout his life. Tickets available at andiamoshowroom.com.
Hey, Chris Renwick here, and join me on an exquisite trip to Germany, Austria, and Prague next spring. The cost is $55.69, and that includes your airfare. So reserve your trip today at conservativetours.com. That's conservativetours.com. Munich, Bavaria, Salzburg, and Prague. And I'll see you by the Glockenspiel.
Help WJR thank our heroes this Christmas. It's WJR's Christmas on Us, our way to honor the dedication and sacrifice of Michigan's active military families and veterans. They make sacrifices all year long. Help us ensure they have a truly joyful Christmas. Do you know a deserving family who serves our country? Nominate them now. WJR's Christmas on Us is proudly supported by the Michigan Center for Fertility and Women's Health, Performance Remodeling, Shelby Mechanical, Window World, and Ahee Jewelers. Visit WJR.com to submit your nomination today and help us give the gift of Christmas.
You're listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR, sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenist and Alex Ziolkowski.
Welcome back to Gridiron Wrap, and just a couple updates again from the late window game. Seattle added another touchdown. They're up 26-0 over Minnesota a few minutes into the fourth quarter, as did the Chargers at a touchdown. They're now leading the Raiders 21-7. And the Bills are leading the Steelers 16-7 with about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Buffalo actually scored on the first play of the second half when Aaron Rodgers was sacked, fumbled, and it was returned for a touchdown. Rodgers got hurt on that play, but eventually returned. But the next Steelers series, Mason Rudolph came in and threw an interception, which also led to a Bills score. So Buffalo appears to be on the verge of another scoring drive. They're near midfield, and it's a game both teams have to win. But the AFC North, Baltimore loses a game in unflattering fashion to the Bengals Thursday night, and now Buffalo is getting control of this game against the Steelers. Speaking of unflattering and not having control of a game, I think we got to talk a little bit about Thursday, and what was disappointing to all Lion fans, the loss to the Packers. That I worked the game for the NFL, Alex, and Green Bay seemed to be in control the whole game. Yeah. I mean, when the Lions, they'd be up by 10 or 14, the Lions would score, Packers would go right down the field and score again. And the one thing that we talked about, and I don't want to say I told anyone so, but I did tell people so, was Micah Parsons on turf is even better, in my opinion, than he is on grass. And he came up with 2.5, basically 3 sacks on Thursday, and he was a force. Mm-hmm. And, the Packers defense played well. The Lions, I think the game, everybody has had, quite a few days to sort of examine it, but it was the difference on fourth down when the Lions didn't convert. And, kudos to the Packers. They did convert. Even though some of the Packers decisions, I was like, what are you doing? Late in the game when they had the third down and they're trying to milk the clock. And that if it's third down and it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, whatever it was, you have to know going into that third down call, if you're going to go for it on fourth down, mm-hmm. you have to be prepared for that. So I was shocked that they threw the ball on third down and stopped the clock. It was an incomplete pass. Now, to their credit, they came back with, an incredible play on fourth down. I think it was to Wicks, the receiver, who had mm-hmm. a big day for the Packers, and that iced the game. But all that being said, it was just a disappointing day for Lions fans. And maybe, the reality that Green Bay now has, swept the Lions. You're not just a few games behind the Packers. You're, basically 3.5 games with their tie early in the year against Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, it was a disappointing game for the Lions ultimately. The fourth downs are really the thing that really hurts and comes back to bite them. It's been a minute since they've honestly been good at converting the fourth downs. Feels like they're in a little bit of a lull here right now, because I believe as well, they didn't convert any against Philadelphia, and they didn't even attempt any against New York. So it's been minimum 4 weeks since they had gotten a successful one, but Green Bay just felt in control of this game mm-hmm. all game long. You were putting it better. They were just moving the ball super well on offense, stopping the Lions up short. I mean, once Amon-Ra left, that obviously hurt the on-field performance, but also just that's a deflating injury, right? From such a leader and fiery guy on the team. It's more mm-hmm. than just the on-field impact, but they did a great job bottling Gibbs. Jameer mm-hmm. Gibbs only had 3.4 yards per carry after that amazing performance the week before.
Right.
And it just felt like the Lions were just completely out of their out of kind of whack a little. Goff was hurried and pressured a lot throughout the game due to Micah Parsons and some O-line, injuries and shuffling around right now and all that. So yeah, it's not a great performance overall for the Lions, but they really got to buckle down and get some big wins here, because we only have 5 weeks left in the regular season, and they do not necessarily have the easiest of schedules ahead of them. So they got to lock in and play their best football they have all year.
Yeah, and I don't think it's an understatement to say the game Thursday night against Dallas is as close to a must-win as there is, because if the Lions lose, the Cowboys leap ahead of them.
Yeah,
in the wild card standings, and Dallas, they have to look at Philadelphia, on Friday, the Bears controlling them as not unreachable. So Dallas is not only playing for a playoff spot, it probably believes it has a chance at the division. And they're going to come in here with extreme confidence. And then on top of that, as you mentioned, St. Brown getting hurt, the emotional toll, let alone what he does on the field, had a huge impact, I believe, on Thursday's game. And then the bizarre, roller coaster of emotions with Frank Ragnow. When that was announced that he was coming back, not that anyone expected him to play Thursday. The hope was for the Rams game the following week. But it was like, wow, this is going to be manna from heaven. I heard the term, the Lions hit the lotto. Yeah, they did for about 48 hours, 72 hours. And then to go from that high to the announcement Friday that he failed a physical because of a hamstring was just somewhat bizarre. It played out that way, but at the end of the day, just devastating for the team, because he is a difference maker. And as you and I talked about, Alex, at the beginning of the season, it wasn't just his physical play. It was his line calls that are so critical for success for any offense. What the center sees and has his offense adjust to. So just a really rough weekend, a rough few days for the Lions.
Yeah, especially with the hopes of getting Ragnow back. A guy who's been one of the best centers in the NFL for years and years on end, especially at a place where the O-line has been struggling. It really is unfortunate for them. And I think it as well, at another spot along the line for the Lions, kind of made me think of the Lions have started looking at a succession plan as well for Decker, because he's starting to get out there a little bit in age by NFL standards and has worked through some injuries. So in a spot at left tackle that's so technical on top of all the other athletic abilities, it might be the time to start looking in those later rounds, seeing if there are guys who are raw but have the size, and just taking a chance on them, seeing if they can develop, so that when we get to the end of this Decker extension, we're not left in a situation like we kind of have been at center right now, where there just isn't really a natural successor in place. And then I think one of my other things is I think the Lions just kind of have to mix up their coverages maybe a little more this upcoming Thursday against Dallas, because they've been doing so well, but the Lions are just such a man heavy team, and that there are so many man breaker plays, and then they showed struggles in it on Thursday, to put it pretty blatantly. Dontavian Wicks had his career game, and I bet that's not who anyone was really worried about, but there are just some matchups you can exploit. So certainly going to be a really interesting week for the Lions and their coaching staff to figure out how to tackle and stop a Dallas offense that's just rolling, because Kansas City, as we know, is one of the best defenses in the NFL, and Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator. So Shepard has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, and I think the Lions defense, I don't want to say got exposed, but offensive coordinators around the league undoubtedly spent a lot of time watching the tape from the Giants game. And just to see Jameis Winston do what he did. I mean, there were receivers running open most of the game. And then Jordan Love, he made some great passes on Thursday. I mean, they were that close to being incomplete or even intercepted. But I would say the Packers had better receivers as a group than the Giants. But the Cowboys probably have the two best receivers, good tight end, good running backs. They have a very good offense. And, the thought of Pickens and CeeDee Lamb running on the field Thursday night is going to be difficult when it comes to guarding them. And then Prescott, who's probably playing as well as any quarterback the last month, at least from what I have seen of him. He's really upped his game and is playing well. And we'll talk more about that Thursday night game, give you another update on the late window games, and get to some more college and high school football when we come back on Gridiron Wrap. You were listening to WJR 760, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com. 1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
At Average Amy's Coffee Corner, our coffee has caffeine, our muffins are cooked, and our services, well, we're here. Come on by for an average cup of joe.
Average doesn't build great businesses. Cumulus Digital does, outperforming industry benchmarks by more than 25%. We deliver smarter digital marketing to over 4,000 local businesses every month and drive real, measurable growth. You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Visit cumulusdigital.com to start outperforming today.
Start your day by hitting play on 5 Things First Thing with JR Morning's Chris Renwick, Lloyd Jackson, and Jamie Edmonds.
Get the day's top 5 stories in just 5 minutes, delivered right to your device. Subscribe to JR Morning's 5 Things First Thing wherever you get your podcasts. Meredith Wilson's Miracle on 34th Street, the musical, takes the Fox Theater stage December 16th through the 18th. Don't miss this beloved story. Kris Kringle, the department store Santa who just might be the real deal, comes to life with dazzling sets, festive music, and Broadway caliber performances. You could win tickets. To enter, text keyword MIRACLE to 800-859-0957. Sponsored by 313 Presents. Official rules at WJR.com. Tickets available for purchase at Ticketmaster.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? You want to think of this as being your money. But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And these taxes, well, they could be a lot higher than you know. Learn how you could reduce or potentially eliminate these taxes with a free retirement tax savings analysis. It's from the Brzezinski Group, a second-generation financial advisory firm right here in Metro Detroit. If you saved at least $250,000, schedule your free analysis now by calling 800-641-3361. This free analysis could save you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes in retirement. Call 800-641-3361. That's 800-641-3361. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Firm does not provide legal or tax advice.
Listen to Our State of Education, sponsored by the Skillman Foundation. Michigan students, educators, and leaders with pressing needs and promising solutions for our schools. Our State of Education, this Monday at 7 p.m. on WJR. You drive past them every day. The historic buildings, the monuments, the landmarks. But do you know the secrets they hold? Every iconic corner of our city has an untold story. From the surprising history of the Detroit salt mines to the legends who rocked the Grandee Ballroom and the true legacy of the Joe Louis Fist. It's time to look closer. Join historian Dr. Robert Livernoy as he uncovers the fascinating truths lying just beneath the surface on the Hidden in Plain Sight podcast. Find Hidden in Plain Sight with Dr. Robert Livernoy at thegreatvoice.com.
You're listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR. Sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenist and Alex Ziolkowski.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gridiron Wrap. And let's update again the late window games, two of which, well, really, when you look at all three, they're pretty well in hand. Seattle 26-0 over Minnesota with 3 minutes to go in the game. The Chargers lead the Raiders 24-7, although the Raiders do have a first and goal at the Chargers 1 with 8 minutes to go in the game. And the Bills scored again. And Josh Allen, speaking of the score, set an all-time record with his 76th rushing touchdown. Alex, there may be some franchises whose running backs don't have that many. I mean, I'm throwing that out there, but that's remarkable when you think about it. 76 rushing TDs for that young man, and the Bills now lead the Steelers 23-7.
Yeah, I mean, it really is impressive that Allen's doing it, especially as well because he racked up so many of those before QB sneaks and stuff were being used at such a high rate like they have in the past few years. Just a great player, and yeah, it's tough. And talk about a game as well that Pittsburgh really needed to pick up because with Cincinnati being able to beat Baltimore on Thanksgiving night, the Steelers actually had a half-game lead in the division heading into today. But yeah, I mean, that looks like they're going to end up being tied again with Baltimore, I believe, having the lead in that case scenario. So yeah, just a crazy game overall.
Yeah, Baltimore would regain the tiebreaker, I believe. So this is probably the longest we've gone in show without talking about the result of the Maize and Blue game from the day before.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you were there, Alex, and I don't know. It just it started out great, and oftentimes in emotional games like that, rivalry games, the game, especially with a freshman quarterback playing for both teams, but Ohio State, saying made the mistake, the interception, but it didn't seem to faze them one bit, and they ended up controlling the whole game. Their defense, led by Matt Patricia, was exceptional again, and I guess, what are your thoughts? You were there, you saw it firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State was just better. I mean, let's just get, big shotgun to say that in a game that was decided by 18 points, but they were better. Came out bigger, stronger, faster team. Michigan had the chance to, make it more of a game early if they really just execute. I mean, the first three plays they gained 46 yards on the first two plays alone. Yeah. And then the play calling kind of fell off on the certain drive. So they settle for a field goal. I mean, Ohio State comes out of the gate absolutely swinging, throwing a massively deep shot to Carnell Tate, which Zeke Berry makes a great play on. And then, Sayin gets kind of caught misreading a coverage a little bit on the next play and throws an easy interception. And if Michigan is able to convert both those drives into touchdowns, obviously you get 14 points, but that would just, fired up the crowd so much, and you may have gotten what Michigan needed. And what happened last year is where Ohio State starts kind of seeing the ghosts of the past and getting stressed out and having the pressure build on, but they didn't ultimately. Those two drives ended up with them getting 6 points, which would be, 6 of their 9 points in the game. Not really much. And Michigan defensively, they did not have that bad of a game plan. No. Like Michigan's coverage held up pretty well. The problem was Julian Sayin had all day in the pocket. Michigan's defensive line just was unable to generate any pressure. They had 0 sacks on the day. Again, Sayin had all day to throw, and he has an all-world receiving core. And then Michigan, they were moving pretty well in the run game to start. But for some reason, Michigan just didn't put much trust and faith in Bryce Underwood to throw the ball that much. They threw it more and for more yards last year with Davis Warren, as opposed to the number 1 recruit in the country. And I don't know if, because I see both sides, right? I could see where Michigan really thought they had an edge in the rushing game, and they game planned all week and thought Jordan Marshall was going to be able to stay healthier than he ended up being yesterday. But Underwood at times, he looked like he struggled to read the defenses, was very quick to get to his check down or panic a little bit. He was inaccurate at times. And then one of my other big surprises was the fact that Michigan was not more aggressive with Bryce Underwood. Football ultimately at any part of the field, it really is just a numbers game, right? And from the play calling perspective, because that's all you can ask for is a numbers advantage, and then your players have to go make the play. So I thought we were going to see a lot more like zone reads and the such from Underwood. And then their one design QB run with Underwood on the first drive, actually, I don't know if it was just the game and the nerves got to him a little bit, but he didn't sell really the fake screen as much. And then there's a pulling guard to kick out a block, and he kind of just outran the guard a little bit. So the kick out block was all for naught. So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. Michigan did not have a good game plan. In the big games this year, they struggled mightily against USC, Oklahoma, and Ohio State, probably the only three teams on their schedule who had a comparable talent. They scored a combined 35 points, and that's just not acceptable, regardless of who's the coach or anything when you're Michigan. I mean, it was a rebuilding year. It's a young offense, but I think we're going to kind of see next season the honeymoon phase be over and going to want to see some big jumps. I still think Sherrone Moore is right for the job, but yeah, I mean, again, in competitive games, Michigan's got to come out looking good because outside of last year's Ohio State game in the second half of the Indiana game, they have not looked great in these big games. But in all fairness, they are, and this kind of monologue or soliloquy or whatever you want to call it. They're in a bit of a talent vacuum right now because Harbaugh did not recruit very actively in the last few years when he was kind of looking at the NFL and was focusing on winning a national championship, which, Michigan fans will gladly take a national championship if this is the cost a few years later. And Michigan is you can't really get transfer portal upperclassmen from Michigan who are not grad students because the University of Michigan will not let you graduate unless over half your credits are from the University of Michigan. So that even got them when Miles Hinton wanted to transfer in a few years ago. He wasn't able to transfer in from Stanford after 3 years there because Michigan has a rule. It doesn't matter where you go, or half the credits have to come from Michigan to get that degree. So there are some disadvantages, but it wasn't good, but big step forward. They're a young team on offense, and hit the portal hard in defense. They could be good. But yeah, what were some of your other thoughts on the game?
Well, I think, and I'm partial. Okay, I'll say this, before I say anything more. I think Matt Patricia is an exceptional coach. I really like Matt as a coach, and personally, we had a great relationship when he was here. And his hiring wasn't that popular early in the year at Michigan State. But what he has done, and what I think played a huge role in the game Saturday, he's running NFL defenses. He's disguising defenses, before the snap, at the snap. And for a young quarterback, a freshman quarterback like Bryce Underwood, to be able to, adjust on the fly is difficult. And, the beauty is, or the reality is, I mean, it was another game that Ohio State didn't give up double figures scoring, 9 points. And that's been the vast majority of their games all year. So I also believe that from a Michigan standpoint, how many freshmen started for the Wolverines? 7?
Six on offense.
6 on offense.
Yeah.
I mean, what that bodes for the future is remarkable. And I know we talked about it. You had pointed that out before the show. I didn't realize it was that many, but to get that kind of experience, to have successes they have had the majority of the season, to go to what would, should be a really good bowl game, bodes well for the future for the University of Michigan. The quarterback's got to take a pretty big step here. I think that's understandable. And then they got to be active in the portal. The graduation hour credit, reality notwithstanding. I wasn't aware of that. That's a great observation, Alex. I didn't know that. That's interesting. And, you wouldn't be surprised if there isn't some discussion about that as the world and the reality of NCAA big time football evolves over the next few years. But I think, in a very different way than Michigan State, both Michigan State and U of M have a ton to look forward to. I'm not sure how many people thought Michigan would be, in the competition for a Big Ten, title this late in the year, and they were. So that's a good thing. We've got another break coming up here at the top of the hour. We'll talk a lot more NFL, college, and high school football when we come back. You are listening to Gridiron Wrap on 760 AM WJR, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
70 years ago, a single act of quiet dignity ignited a revolution. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, and the course of history changed forever. To commemorate the 70th anniversary of her arrest and the spark of the Montgomery bus boycott, the Henry Ford invites our community to come together. On Monday, December 1st, enjoy free admission to the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation in Dearborn. Come stand beside the actual bus where Ms. Parks made her stand. Explore the With Liberty and Justice for All exhibition and discover the powerful stories of everyday people who fueled the civil rights movement. Doors are open from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Free admission is redeemable on-site at the day of the event. Honor the past. Inspire the future. Visit thf.org for more information.
Family Matters amplifies the loudest and the proudest political voices in the Black community today.
There is so much energy being put into try to make Black Americans speak up. Because when you look at the values of the Black community, we're a community of faith, of promise.
Black voters, we just treat humans like humans.
The moment we become reliant upon ourselves, then we can actually vote for our interests. And once you see that truth, you don't go back because courage is contagious. That's why this moment matters.
Family Matters with CJ Pierce. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
100 years of history, 11 Stanley Cups. Discover the epic story of the team that defined our city. The Detroit Historical Museum presents Becoming Hockey Town, Detroit Red Wings at 100. Explore a century of hockey from the original Detroit Cougars to the legends that earned the name Hockey Town. Don't miss this special centennial exhibition, Becoming Hockey Town, on display through November 2nd, 2026 at the Detroit Historical Museum. Get your tickets and celebrate a century of champions. Learn more at DetroitHistorical.org.
This is the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR, Detroit, a Cumulus media station.
They're making progress. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the roughly 4-hour meeting today between U.S. and Ukrainian delegations made headway on a plan to end the war with Russia, but more work is needed to reach a deal.
This is about ending a war in a way that creates a mechanism and a way forward that will allow them to be independent and sovereign, never have another war again, and create tremendous prosperity for its people.
The delegations met at a golf club north of Miami ahead of a U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff's critical visit to Moscow next week, where he will meet with Russia's President Putin. Lawmakers from both parties say that they support congressional reviews of U.S. military strikes against alleged drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific Ocean. And they cited a published report that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth issued a verbal order for all crew members to be killed as part of a September 2nd attack. A manhunt in Northern California where a gunman opened fire at a banquet hall in Stockton last night, leaving 4 people dead, 3 of them children, and 11 injured. Mayor Christina Fugazi told reporters after the shooting the fact that it happened on a holiday makes it even more tragic.
This is Thanksgiving weekend. This is when families come together, celebrate, share memories, give each other love. And unfortunately tonight, heaven is a little bigger with the individuals, children and adults that unfortunately did not make it.
Authorities are asking the public for tips, even rumors, as they try to identify and find the shooter. And Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu is asking the country's president to pardon him amid his trial on corruption charges. America's listening to Fox News.
Hello, everyone. This is Ainsley Earhart. Thank you for joining me for the 52-episode podcast series, The Life of Jesus.
Neil McDonough portrays Jesus. Stacey Keach, Sean Astin, Michael York, and Kristen Bell provide the voices for some of Jesus's notable followers. A listening experience that will provide hope, comfort, and understanding of the greatest story ever told, The Life of Jesus.
Make sure to spread the word.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
This is Jason Chaffetz from the Jason in the House podcast. Join me every Monday to dive deeper into the latest political headlines and chat with remarkable guests to hear their take on American life, politics, and entertainment. And don't forget, there's always somebody doing something stupid somewhere.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcast.com
or wherever you download podcasts.
Must listen to podcasts from Fox News Audio.
A winter storm's bringing record snowfall to Chicago. Fox Weather's Robert Ray is in the Windy City with more.
Holiday shoppers are out because we've got a lull in that snow. But look at what has transpired here in Chicago and across the Midwest. Huge snow systems coming in. Historic for this time of year, really. Downtown, where I'm at, about 8 inches plus in total. And what did that cause? Well, a ton of issues locally. We're talking about the airport, O'Hare International, one of the biggest airports, busiest airports in the world. Over 1,400 flights canceled. As far as traffic goes, oh my goodness, a lot of crashes across the Midwest and the state of Iowa. Over 150 reported crashes in Indiana.
Pope Leo issues a moral challenge to Lebanon's political leaders today.
Pope Leo challenged Lebanon's political leaders to be true peacemakers, put their differences aside and seek reconciliation. He arrived in Beirut from Istanbul on the second leg of his maiden voyage as Pope. His aim is to encourage the Lebanese people to persevere at a precarious moment for their small Mediterranean country, which is facing economic uncertainty, deep political divisions, and fears of a new war with Israel. He delivered a message of hope and encouragement to Christians, telling them, "You have suffered greatly." On the plane from Turkey, the Pope also addressed the Israeli-Palestinian issue, saying the Holy See has for many years publicly endorsed a two-state solution. Kathleen Maloney, Fox News.
A long-lost painting by Peter Paul Rubens, which was hidden for more than 4 centuries, sells at auction in France for $2.7 million. That painting, which depicts the crucifixion of Christ, was found in a Paris townhouse as part of a French collection that was initially thought to be from one of the many Rubens workshops that existed at the time. I'm Carmen Roberts. This is Fox News.
WJR traffic and weather first.
We're looking pretty good on this early Sunday evening. If you're out and about, it's about a 16-minute drive if you're trying to make your way from downtown on I-94 to Metro Airport. If you're traveling on 275 northbound from 94 to the M14 I-96 interchange, it's a 10-minute drive. And on the southbound side, it's pretty much the same thing. I'm Erin B., WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Chance for some scattered snow showers, cloudy skies, temperatures fall to the low 30s and winds may top 35 miles per hour. Tonight, early clouds, slight chance for snow, gradual clearing, low 20. Monday, increasing clouds and 30. Snow returns Monday night. For the Weather Channel, I'm Jeff Eno on 760 WJR, where Michigan comes to talk.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code AUTO for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code AUTO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code AUTO for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Hi, I'm Drew Barrymore, and I want to tell you how you can help to support the life-saving work of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. When you give, you're helping ensure families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, so they can focus on helping their child live. This holiday, help St. Jude give children the greatest gift, a chance at a lifetime.
This holiday, help St. Jude find more cures for more children. Donate now at musicgives.org.
Hey, Chris Renwick here, and join me on an exquisite trip to Germany, Austria, and Prague next spring. The cost is $55.69, and that includes your airfare. So reserve your trip today at conservativetours.com. That's conservativetours.com. Munich, Bavaria, Salzburg, and Prague. And I'll see you by the Glockenspiel.
Call us or text us. The number's the same. 1-800-859-0957. 1-800-859-0WJR. Powered by Michigan Auto Law. Auto Accident Attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
You're about to get a helmet full of football coverage. High school, college, pro. It's Gridiron Wrap on 760 WJR. Sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Now here are Pro Football's 2025 Hall of Fame Award of Excellence honoree Bill Keenist and football analyst Alex Ziolkowski.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gridiron Wrap as we approach the Sunday night game about an hour or so from now, and the late window games are winding down. In fact, Seattle Minnesota game has gone final. The Seahawks with an impressive 26-0 victory. The Chargers continue to lead the Raiders 24-14 with about 3 minutes to go. The Chargers were driving again. They had the ball inside the red zone going in to score again. And Buffalo is in the final stages of wrapping up a huge victory in Pittsburgh, lead 23-7 with under 4 minutes to go. Huge win for the Bills. Before we get into some high school football, I want to my bone to pick this weekend is, and I should be more informed so I could speak more intelligently on it, but it's about the MAC, where my Ohio U Bobcats resigned, and it was a really tight race the last few weeks to the MAC championship game, which is at Ford Field next week. Ohio U, Toledo, Miami of Ohio, Central, Buffalo, Western, all were in the mix. And ultimately, Western, with the best record in the conference, deservedly so, 7-1 conference record, is in the championship game. And they're playing Miami, which, along with Ohio U, Toledo, all finished 6-2. And my only issue is OU beat Miami. I know that when there's a three-way tie, things get convoluted, but it just doesn't seem right that a team is in the finals, the championship nonetheless, while a team that beat them in the regular season sits at home. So, but kudos to the Broncos from Western Michigan. I mean, they obviously are still probably, on that high from the hockey championship. And the hockey team's doing well again this year, but the football team, good for the Broncos. So hopefully a lot of Bronco fans will make the trip to Ford Field next weekend to cheer them on as they battle the Miami, Ohio Redhawks in the MAC championship game. Miami was in the championship game a year ago and got pounded by my Bobcats. So that makes it even more frustrating for me. But so be it, And then the other note, on a very good note, is the other fan base in our state that is absolutely ecstatic, and that's Fair State and the Bulldogs, with a big win yesterday, 56-24 over Ashland. from that state down south. So one Michigan team beat a school from Ohio. But it was interesting in that game because Ashland went up 14-0, but Ferris didn't flinch, didn't blink. They then poured it on and won 56-24. So the Bulldogs are, back at it again. And I think everyone will be surprised that they don't make it to the national championship game. And then, speaking of the Bulldogs, you watch Ole Miss and their quarterback who led them to another big win over Mississippi State on Saturday. And there's more to that story, obviously. But Trinidad Chambliss was leading the Bulldogs of Ferris State to the NCAA Division II championship last year. And he's playing fantastic. So kudos to him. The Michigan or the Ole Miss story is crazy. Just crazy. As Lane Kiffin has apparently accepted the job to go down to LSU.
Yeah, I mean, talk about just the absolute end of an all-time media circus in the world of college football that's been going on the past 3 weeks. It just got absurd, especially today with some of the news coming out. LSU called a players-only meeting for 10 a.m. initially, and then a team meeting at 10 a.m. Then it got pushed back to 1 p.m. Because it seemed like Ole Miss is trying to salvage the team in the season a little bit, and there were still some debates on whether or not Ole Miss would potentially let Lane Kiffin coach out this end of the season, and then it ultimately ended up being not the case. So Lane Kiffin goes, just as his one of the more controversial coaches in the sport, to put it lightly, gets on the plane to take the LSU head coaching job, and there are fans at the Oxford airport booing him, and then to avoid a situation like Florida State had to deal with a few years ago when Jordan Travis got injured in the AC championship game, or the week before against Florida. Ole Miss instantly promotes Pete Golding, their defensive coordinator, who's also former Alabama defensive coordinator. They promote him to permanent head coach, not even interim. But apparently he was a guy who throughout the day, he'd been really kind of lobbying for everyone to stay on the ship, because Ole Miss is a great team. They really have a chance at a national championship, but not everyone did. It seems like Lane Kiffin already got 4 or 5 coaches come with him. So really interesting circus there down in Oxford, what's going to happen, and see, how the College Football Playoff Committee deals with it as well. I mean, we're going to find out who's sticking out to play the rest of the season, who's leaving, same with coaches. With signing day only a few days away, being so early this year, it's an interesting situation overall. And talk about just an all-time circus of a coaching search that had, back and forth. And we're going to see if, Lane Kiffin talks about wanting to win a national title. He's won 1 conference championship in his career, and that was at Florida Atlantic. But LSU is one of the best jobs in the sport, and he's done a remarkable job at an extremely hard place to win in Ole Miss. So, I think with how good his offenses are at LSU, I think if I was a Tiger fan, it would be very exciting going forward. And I mean, Brian Kelly was the first coach since Jerry DiNardo at LSU not to win the national championship. So, I mean, it's very doable there.
Yeah, I agree with you. It has been a bit of a circus, and I hope college sports in general, college football in particular, gets its act together to prevent stuff like this from happening. And there's a way to do it. To me, it's just unfortunate because of the impact it has on the players. And we'll talk more about that when we get back from a break. And you are listening to Gridiron Wrap on 760 WJR, the great voice of the Great Lakes.
Hey gang, it's Jim Harper inviting you to join us on our little Saturday morning show, The Great Michigan Weekend, 8 to 10 a.m. here on WJR, where we run down all the events going on the weekend for you and the family. We recap sports. We have trivia here on WJR.
Michigan Auto Law, the law firm that puts people over everything.
People call Michigan Auto Law when they need help, not just because we win more million-dollar auto settlements than any firm in Michigan, which we do. It's because we care and we have your back. From the first call to the final settlement, we treat you like a person, not a case. Because at Michigan Auto Law, it's simple. People over everything. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-705-9484. 800-705-9484. 800-705-9484.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You're not lazy, so your money shouldn't be either. Join No Lazy Money with Nick and Jim from Peak Wealth Management. Discover investment strategies and elevate your wealth. Tune in Wednesday at 7 p.m. with host Ryan Armani. Empower your financial journey.
At USA Hockey Arena in Plymouth, we proudly serve as the front porch of USA Hockey. More than a rink, we're your go-to destination for family fun and unforgettable hockey experiences. USA Hockey Arena is a go-to destination in Detroit for locals and visitors. From youth games to Team USA matchups, you'll find tons of excitement and a warm welcome every time you visit. Celebrating 10 years in the vibrant Plymouth community, we invite you to see what makes us special. Visit usahockeyarena.com today.
This Thanksgiving, while many of us gather around tables filled with food and family, others in our community are desperate for a second chance. I'm Pastor Darren Weiss, CEO of Grace Centers of Hope, and we see men, women, and children finding freedom from addiction and homelessness through the power of God's grace, community, and accountability. Your gift today of $2.17 provides a warm meal and hope for the holidays. Visit gracecentersofhope.org and give someone a reason to give thanks this year.
You're listening to Gridiron Wrap on WJR, sponsored by Skinny Butcher Premium Proteins. Once again, with every football update you need, here are Bill Keenist and Alex Ziolkowski.
Welcome back, everyone, to our final segment of Gridiron Wrap. And before Alex talks a little bit about the high school championship games that have gone on this weekend, I'll mention that Buffalo did beat the Steelers 20. Let me see here. What's the final? 26-7. So a huge win for Buffalo. But as we talked about, the Steelers entered the day in first place in the AFC North. And NBC or CBS rather just put up a graphic. They're not even a wild card team now. They're in the hunt. So it just shows what the next few weeks are going to be like, I think. And one thing I'd like to sort of preface the high school talk is, with all the stuff going on in college football, it's always amazed me that not only in football, but in basketball too, and I don't quite understand it. I probably should. But coaches can leave whenever they want, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's happened with coaches recently. The season's not even over yet, and you're accepting a new deal. I mean, players can't do that. So when we talked about earlier the importance of getting all this under control, because what examples are we setting for not only the current college players and students, but the high school players? What is this all about? And there was a lot of talk about in the Lane Kiffin camp, it's not about money, it's about other things. Well, it's about money most of the time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, opportunities, you want to win and all that. But it just seems to me there's things that could be done so much better. And let's be true to what we, preach and practice about, integrity and character and teaching our kids the right things on and off the field. And I do want to mention, and I think it fits in with what I'm just talking about. ESPN on its pregame show ran a phenomenal story, a Thanksgiving story about three of the best players in the game, NFL, and who they're most thankful for in their career. And it was Jackson Smith and Jigba, one of the best receivers in the NFL. Myles Garrett, maybe the premier pass rusher, along with Micah Parsons in the NFL, and a phenomenal receiver who's had a great career, Keenan Allen, with the LA Chargers. And each of those young men, those players, said the person they're most thankful for in their career is their high school coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that warms my heart, obviously, with my son being a high school coach and both of my boys playing high school football and seeing the impact their coaches like Bud Raleigh had on them in high school at Oxford. And Bud had that impact on so many young men. And seeing that in other places, it just underscores the importance of high school football and the impact that the coaches, not just the head coach, all the coaches, anyone associated with the program can have with those kids. And there's kids right now, Alex, living out their dream. They've lived out their dream at Ford Field on Friday. And, the Division I championships game is happening as we speak.
Yeah, completely. And there are two really good performances in particular want to highlight from this weekend. And one is DeWitt's quarterback, who DeWitt won the Division III state title. Yeah. And their quarterback just had a great game. His name is Travis Moore, and he had 397 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns, along with 64 passing yards and another through the air. Talk about having a big game on the biggest stage you'll play in all year long. So that's just one of the best performances as well. And then another comes from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, who also won their state championship game over Dexter, who, even though he's on Dex for, like we talked last week, Cole Navarra, who's had the best receiving season in Michigan history. He also had a 96-yard kickoff return touchdown early in the game. But St. Mary's quarterback was the real star of the game. Jabin Gonzalez, he had 102 rushing yards on 13 attempts, so also threw for 304 through the air and accounted for 4 touchdowns himself in their domination. Then, Cassett Catholic Central, the biggest game of the year, is kicked off recently here. So, we might not be here to cover it, but it's definitely something people should pay attention to, because talk about two real powerhouses and two teams who are, they can both go down as one of the best in Michigan high school history when all said and done.
No doubt. And it's just such just amazing experiences for the whole school district, but and certainly for the young men. And you talk about great performances. When they were doing that feature on ESPN, they actually had the players being interviewed, in Jigba and Garrett and Allen, talking about who they're most thankful for. And then their high school head coach, as a surprise, came up from behind them and surprised them. And the immediate embrace, the chills, the goosebumps, all that. And they had highlights of all the players when they were in high school. And Jackson Smith and Jigba helped his team get to the championship game and had 6 touchdowns in that game to help his team win the game. So huge, absolutely. I guess we should just spend a minute or 30 seconds or so on the Big Ten championship game next week. Obviously, the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Fighting Cignettis from Indiana. I mean, I saw a clip today where Kurt was on the set of an ESPN pregame show a year ago from the championship game. And not surprisingly said, well, I figure I better get used to this place since I'm going to be here a year from now playing in it. and he is. It's going to be a fascinating game, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, from the eye test, Ohio State just looks so dominant in every team they've played. But I mean, what really stands out in my mind is one of their common opponents in Illinois, right? Illinois gave them Ohio State one of the better runs for their money this year. And if you remember the Indiana-Illinois game, it was not close for a second.
No.
It was just total domination. And I mean, we're going to see Indiana's offense is very RPO driven. So, will Matt Patricia be able to handle that college-y things? All the data points say yes from what we've seen this year, but it could be a struggle for them. And then this also might be a game that decides the Heisman Trophy when you look at it. This is not a year with a runaway Heisman winner.
Right.
And both San and Mendoza look right like that caliber. So gonna be interesting to watch, and a lot on stake here. Big Ten championship, guaranteed number 1 seed in the college football playoff, and potentially the Heisman Trophy. So I'm looking forward to it, and should be one of the better college or conference championship games we've seen.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think just a indication of how dominant and strong the Big Ten is. I mean, it's a slam dunk for both participants to get into the playoffs. And all you have to do is look at Ohio State a year ago to know, you don't want to lose at this stage in the season. But the key is to get into the tournament. And once that happens, anything can happen. And before we close, just another shout out to Michigan State and the hire of Pat Fitzgerald. I think Graham Couch and Chris Solari first broke the story. So kudos to them. They cover the Spartans, and just a tremendous hire. It's been so well received. I think in some respects people are shocked because they necessarily don't expect that from Michigan State. But go green, go white. They nailed it. And like I said, both Michigan and Michigan State have a lot to look forward to next year. We have a big game to look forward to on Thursday night in Detroit when the Cowboys come into town. And let us not forget to thank our producer extraordinaire, Dan, and all he does to get us ready for the show. And of course, Skinny Butcher, who is our title sponsor. We wouldn't be here without them. So thank you, Danny, for the great work, and kudos to Skinny Butcher, and most importantly to everyone that listens and tunes in. Hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Sunday on Gridiron Wrap on WJR 760 AM, the great voice of the Great Lakes.